Imagine waking up one day to discover that most people around you no longer question anything. The world has become so loud, so fast, and so saturated with information that the human mind, once a powerful tool for inquiry, discernment, and growth, has dulled into passive acceptance. Think about that. What happens to a society where critical thinking vanishes, where the ability to reason, challenge, and reflect is replaced by instant reactions, surface-level opinions, and collective echo chambers? This isn't just a philosophical question. This is our reality. We are living in a time where the very foundation of what makes us human, our ability to think critically, seems to be eroding. People react without thinking. They accept what they're told without questioning. They are swept away by the currents of public opinion, not realizing they have the power to swim against it. And so, we find ourselves in a time when the pursuit of truth has been replaced by the pursuit of convenience, and the ability to think deeply has been overshadowed by the need to be heard immediately. What was once the hallmark of intellectual growth, the willingness to engage in thoughtful reflection, to question, to challenge, has become an afterthought. Today, the process of thinking critically is not just rare, it's becoming discouraged. The environment we find ourselves in does not reward contemplation. It rewards speed, emotional response, and conformity. And this isn't an accident. This is by design. From algorithms that feed us only what we want to hear, to educational systems that prioritize memorization over exploration, society is actively conditioning us away from critical thought. The philosopher Noam Chomsky warned us about this decades ago in his analysis of media and propaganda. He explained how power structures rely on what he called the manufacturing of consent. In other words, when people are trained to consume without questioning, to agree without understanding, they become easy to manage and even easier to deceive. Critical thinking, once considered a fundamental human skill, is now seen as inconvenient. It slows down online debates. It challenges ideologies. It dares to ask deeper questions. But in a world obsessed with being right, simply asking those questions is now seen as dangerous. The culture of certainty is intoxicating, and anyone who dares to think differently is met with resistance. But how did we get here? How did we arrive at a point where critical thinking is no longer valued, but seen as a threat to the established order? The problem runs deep, and it starts with information overload. We live in a world where we are bombarded with more information than our brains can process. According to neuroscientist Daniel Levitin, the average person today processes 5 times more information per day than they did just a few decades ago. We are constantly inundated with notifications, messages, breaking news, opinions, ads, and updates every waking moment. Our minds, which were not built for this level of input, are overwhelmed. And when the brain is overwhelmed, it takes shortcuts. It starts relying on mental habits, cognitive biases, and groupthink to navigate complexity. Instead of evaluating ideas critically, the mind looks for cues from others, especially peers, influencers, or perceived authorities. This is called social proof. And while it's a natural survival mechanism, it can be easily manipulated. Have you ever seen an online post with thousands of likes and comments and assumed it must be true or important? That's not reason speaking. That's a psychological shortcut. One that's exploited by those who understand the power of mass influence. Collective stupidity doesn't spread because people are unintelligent. It spreads because they've been conditioned to follow signals rather than reason. This isn't a new phenomenon. It's been happening for centuries. But in today's age of digital media, the problem is accelerating. But it's not just the overwhelming flow of information that's to blame. It's also the decline of reading, especially deep reading. Neuroscientist Marianne Wolf describes how our brains are being rewired by digital media. We now skim more, jump between tabs, and struggle to maintain focus on longer texts. And here's the problem. Critical thinking requires sustained attention. You cannot analyze, reflect, or truly understand if your attention span is constantly fractured. Ask yourself, when was the last time you read an entire article without checking your phone? When was the last time you paused after hearing something provocative to think rather than react? These small habits, once common, are now vanishing. The late Carl Sagan, one of the great minds of the 20th century, once warned, "We live in a society exquisitely dependent on science and technology, in which hardly anyone knows anything about science and technology." His concern wasn't just ignorance. It was the erosion of the ability to think critically about the systems we depend on. In a world full of opinions, hot takes, and ideological warfare, the greatest rebellion is the quiet act of thinking clearly. But this act is becoming increasingly rare. And the problem isn't just technological or educational, it's emotional. Critical thinking is uncomfortable. It forces us to admit that we don't know everything. It challenges our egos. It can lead us into cognitive dissonance, where our cherished beliefs clash with new evidence. And, in a culture that values certainty, confidence, and identity above all, this is deeply threatening. So instead of thinking, we defend, we retreat into our tribes, we repeat mantras, we cancel, we avoid, we memorize slogans instead of engaging in dialectic, the kind of honest Socratic dialogue that has powered philosophical evolution for millennia. What we are witnessing now is not just a decline in thinking, it's a social shift toward mental laziness. The consequences of this are devastating. When people stop thinking, they stop questioning. And when people stop questioning, they become vulnerable to manipulation, to propaganda, to fear. So who benefits from this? Who benefits when a population no longer thinks for itself? Stay with me, because what comes next will uncover just how deeply these forces are woven into our daily lives, and why reclaiming our capacity to think is not just a personal task, but a moral responsibility. Let's start with the education system. John Taylor Gatto, an award-winning teacher and outspoken critic of traditional schooling, argued that modern education does not exist to create independent thinkers. In his words, "The truth is that schools don't really teach anything except how to obey orders." Gatto claimed that compulsory schooling was designed during the industrial age, not to enlighten students, but to prepare them for factory life, predictable, obedient, and non-disruptive. Think about that. Instead of teaching how to think, we are taught what to think. From early ages, children are evaluated not on the originality or depth of their thoughts, but on their ability to memorize and regurgitate. Conformity is rewarded. Curiosity is often treated as a distraction. This pattern doesn't end in school. It only intensifies in adult life, at the workplace, in the media, even in our friendships. We learn that speaking out, questioning consensus, or holding unpopular views can cost us. The fear of social exclusion, of being labeled difficult or controversial, is often enough to silence even our most pressing doubts. And so we stay quiet. But silence, over time, becomes complicity. The psychologist Erich Fromm observed this in his book, Escape from Freedom, where he explained how many people secretly want to surrender their freedom of thought because true freedom comes with responsibility, and responsibility can be terrifying. Thinking for yourself means you can no longer blame others for your ignorance. You can no longer take comfort in the crowd. You must face the uncertainty of truth. And that, for many, is too great a burden. So instead, we choose comfort. We choose distraction. We choose simplicity over complexity. And in doing so, we become easier to control. Social media has accelerated this problem to unimaginable levels. What was once a space for global connection has become a battlefield of opinion wars, outrage cycles, and algorithmic manipulation. Every platform is designed to keep you scrolling, reacting, consuming, not thinking. You are nudged constantly toward content that confirms your beliefs. You are encouraged to respond instantly, emotionally, and often angrily. The platforms reward engagement, not truth. They thrive on division, not understanding. In the middle of all this noise, the voice of reason is drowned out. Thoughtfulness appears slow, weak, even irrelevant. Philosopher Marshall McLuhan foresaw this in the 1960s. He warned that the medium is the message, meaning that the way we receive information changes how we think. Today's mediums encourage speed over depth, outrage over nuance, and certainty over humility. Even truth itself has become distorted. In the age of misinformation, what is true often becomes less important than what is viral. People no longer evaluate the merit of ideas based on evidence or logic. They judge them based on how many people agree. This is the tyranny of the majority in its most dangerous form, not political, but cognitive. So where do we go from here? We begin by asking better questions, questions that challenge the status quo, questions that demand real answers, not slogans or statistics stripped of context. What are you being told to believe? Who benefits from that belief? What assumptions lie beneath your certainty? How often do you seek out opposing views? Not to attack them, but to understand them. These are not easy questions, but they are necessary. Because the antidote to collective stupidity is not just intelligence, it is courage. Courage to be wrong. Courage to learn. Courage to admit that you don't know and to start the journey of knowing anyway. Socrates, one of the earliest champions of critical thinking, famously claimed, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." This wasn't self-deprecation. It was an invitation to stay curious, to keep asking, and to remain intellectually humble in the face of a vast, mysterious world. And yet today, humility is rare. Certainty is worshipped. Arrogance is mistaken for wisdom. Everyone has an opinion, but few have understanding. Everyone wants to speak, but few want to listen. The irony is that true thinkers are often quiet, observant, reserved. They know that wisdom grows not from noise, but from silence, from contemplation, from deep engagement with complexity. This is precisely why critical thinkers are often outnumbered and ignored. In a culture that rewards speed and spectacle, the slow process of thinking stands little chance. But it must not be abandoned. Once you give up your ability to think for yourself, you are no longer free. You are a puppet your strings pulled by forces you do not see. Let us be clear. Those forces are not abstract. They are economic, political, and cultural. They are the companies that profit from your addiction to mindless content, the politicians who rely on your emotional reactions, the institutions that depend on your unquestioning obedience. But when you reclaim your mind, everything changes. You become harder to manipulate. You begin to see through the illusion. You stop being a passive consumer of ideas and become an active seeker of truth. This is your invitation, not just to think, but to wake up, to stop living as a product of your environment and start becoming the architect of your mind. Because no school, no system, no social media platform will do this for you. The responsibility is yours alone. And when you rise to it, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see with clarity. You begin to feel what it's like to live in alignment with truth. Not borrowed truth, not popular truth, but your own hard-earned truth. This is your invitation. Stay curious. Stay awake. Keep thinking.